They also want to let you know that Doria was being stalked. But see, Doria had conscience. She had a moral compass, unlike Thomas Markle, who we're going to find out about later. And apparently one time, this guy drove alongside Doria and rolled his window down and said he just wanted a story about Doria. And Doria says that she's not that kind of a parent. And she wasn't going to sell a story about her daughter. And so she said no. So note that. Meghan says that the British tabloids really wanted to build a narrative about how her Black family was chaotic. And that was just super unfair because it wasn't her mom who was chaotic at all. In Meghan's words, her mom was quiet, classy, and just there, unlike her father's side of the family, who was not that way. Then that really leads us into the whole Markle family debacle. Now, Meghan says that contrary to what stupid Samantha wants to tell you, she didn't even know that girl, like not even a little bit, that she had moved out of her parents' house when she was 2, and she and her mom went to go live together. And then her dad went off and lived by himself. And sometimes she'd go and spend some time with her dad. But those 2 older kids of his, Samantha and Tom Jr., never even saw the likes of them at all. And Meghan wants you to know that not only does she not know Samantha, she doesn't even know her middle name. She doesn't even know her birthday. She doesn't even know anything about that old kook. And here she is coming out and saying that Meghan is the pushy princess. Like, how dare her? Meghan doesn't even know her middle name or birthday. So she definitely doesn't know this person at all. So we're supposed to believe from Meghan's narrative that she doesn't know Samantha. She has never had any kind of relationship with Samantha. Samantha tries to say that she helped raise Meghan, and Meghan's like, that is such a categorical lie. That's never happened. I don't know this person at all. She's just globbing on now that I've become famous. All right, so if that's true, this is just some relative that she barely knows, she's just sort of heard of in the background of her life. This next part of the story makes zero sense to me. We are now introduced to a character named Ashley. Ashley is the daughter of Samantha, so she is Meghan's niece. Ashley says that when she was 6 years old, she was taken from her mother and raised by her paternal grandparents because Samantha couldn't properly care for her, and that she had really no relationship with her mom after that. And then about 2007, she rekindled a relationship with her mother, and she was reintroduced to her mother. And when she was, according to Meghan, her dad had said to her, "Hey, Samantha found her daughter." And apparently, Meghan says to her dad, "Oh wow, Samantha found her daughter? Does she have an email address? I want to email her too." And that then followed this long email exchange where they would write each other 3 times a week, these long emails. And that over the course of time, Meghan ended up entering Ashley's life and playing all these roles in her life. Maternal role, best friend role, sister role, aunt role, all of the female roles Meghan played. And Ashley is interviewed and says these things about Meghan, that they had this really deep relationship. And at the time, Meghan says she was on Suits, and she says that she took Ashley on vacations with an S. Ashley only mentions one vacation, which is a time they went to New Orleans and listened to some live music and ate and drank too much. But what we are supposed to get from this is that these two were super tight, and that this really meant a need for both of them, because Meghan says her whole life she wanted a sister, and now she had kind of found that in Ashley, and Ashley really, I guess, needed a strong female in her life to play both mother, best friend, aunt, and sister. But you guys, how did this relationship even get started? Am I the only person who doesn't understand how or why you would want to email the daughter of somebody who you don't even know? I mean, according to her, she didn't even know Samantha. Samantha was absolutely a zero person to her. She only knew the name, and she met the face one time in her remembrance. But then she wants to start this long, intimate email exchange with Samantha's daughter? BS! That doesn't make sense. Have you in your entire life been desperate to go email with somebody you don't know? Have you ever in your whole life thought, oh, I don't even know this person? They seem to have found their estranged child. I want to start a long email relationship with that person so that I can then become their mother, sister, aunt, best friend that they never had. Does that not strike you as super manipulative? In my mind, it kind of seems weird that you would want to develop this strong bond with somebody who you don't know. The whole thing's weird and wild to me. I don't get it. I can't make sense of it. And the reason it doesn't make sense is because Megan's lying. Okay, she did know Samantha. She did grow up with Samantha. Samantha wasn't a stranger to her. And by the way, may I just say, that's pretty wild to me, on a complete side note, that you would not know the middle name or the birthday of your half-sister. What's that? What's the story there? Like, you wouldn't even know their middle name of your half-sister? Maybe it's hard to remember birthdays sometimes. But you don't know your half-sister's name? I don't get that. I feel like if you knew you had a half-sister growing up, you would just be curious about the person. Even if they never really came around a lot, wouldn't you ask questions about them? And it seems like she had a pretty open relationship with her dad. They seemed like they could talk. So even given that even if she was telling the truth, I had a half-sister I didn't really know. You weren't curious about them? You didn't ask about them? You didn't try to find out who they were since you did want a sister so badly? Lies, 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 and then some more. We end the whole situation with Ashley for a little bit until we talk about the wedding and why she wasn't invited. But we end the situation with Ashley where Ashley is saying that she and Samantha did eventually meet again, and they were trying to kindle a mother-daughter relationship, and that she had tried to express to her mom that Megan wasn't that bad, and that maybe her mom should not say so many negative things about Megan because Megan had always been a good friend to her. And Samantha apparently did not agree and would not be swayed from how she felt about it, and she doubled down on how she felt about it, and it really broke up the relationship between she and Ashley because she was annoyed that Ashley would take Megan's side. So there was bitterness there. We transition on to the story of the wedding. The wedding is a really frightening time because so many things are happening at once, and it's also scary. Haters gonna hate, and they're sending her packages with white substance in it. So, frightening. Now that would be scary, but also they don't tell us what was in the package with the white substance, and I think it was actually just flour. It was a joke. And unfortunately, there's going to be weirdos out there all the time who just want to stir up trouble, and this is by no means the first person who's ever experienced that. But Megan says that because things were getting so scary, they were going to have snipers standing everywhere to pick off the terrorists that were likely to show up. And Harry, interestingly enough, does try to bring in a little reality here, and he interjects to say, well, I mean, it was a big event. And he's going to go on to say more, like along the vein of, this is protocol. You know, we're always protected like this in an event like this where we're going to be in open carriages and things like that. And they cut right before he can finish his sentence because they don't want clarity and fairness here. They don't want him to point out the fact that that's just protocol, that the snipers weren't because Megan had received a package with them unknown white substance that turned out to be harmless. They want you to think that there really was a reason for her to be this panicked and wringing her hands like this. But there's other things to contend with at this wedding situation. You know, Samantha Markle won't shut her stupid mouth, right? So she can't come. But if she can't come, then how is Megan going to invite Ashley, the daughter of? Now, to me, this is not like some big conundrum. Everybody saw how Samantha was talking about Megan. So if Megan decided to elect not to have Samantha Markle, I don't think a lot of people would have been scratching their heads being like, that's a profoundly weird move. Would you want somebody to come to your wedding who can't stop talking negatively about you? Probably not. So I don't think there's anybody who would not have gotten that. The daughter got to come because you're friends with the daughter, but you're not friends with her mom. That happens in relationships all the time. But for whatever reason, she wants you to believe that she couldn't invite Ashley because the comms team told her she couldn't, because it was too hard for them to explain. Because they were over there slipping on banana peels and falling face first into cream pies. And for them to have to explain why Ashley could come but Samantha couldn't was beyond their capabilities. So she was going to have to just disinvite the one family member who she had decided to invite. Ashley is over there believing it hook, line, and sinker and says that it was really hard for her because it would appear that the relationship had fallen to the wayside, but not as a result of Megan being mean. It was just that was one of the things that had to happen because, you know, her relationships were being controlled now, you guys. Ashley, by the way, has a lot of extreme vocal fry when she talks, and so it's really annoying. So I was led to believe that Megan couldn't be friends with me anymore because her relationships were being controlled. It was really hard for me when Megan called me and told me that she couldn't have me to the wedding anymore. Well, apparently they called her, they were in the car, and they decided to put her on speakerphone, and both she and Harry walked Ashley through this very difficult decision they had to make. And Ashley cries as she recalls it and says it was really hard for her because it was her mom's fault that, once again, her life wasn't turning out the way she wanted because her mom's just so bitter and hateful that now Meghan couldn't have her. Ashley, believe that if that's what you need to believe to get through life, but Meghan cut you out because she wanted to.